his policies, his reforms, and it said that he made a case that it was good for the country. He made a case that he knew what he was doing, and we should be patient. It was quite open. We had all the media houses there, even people that, even media houses that typically were, may not be favorable to him. So his policies were laid out, he defended them, and he told the Nigerian public that this is what he means and this is how he's going to do it. He also defended the fact that nothing can deter him from bringing a better life and better changing the situation of Nigeria. Many of his policies are controversial, extremely painful, but his intentions were very clear. And I believe he reached out to the Nigerian population through, away from the utterances from social media or from media that would be less objective to his case. He reached out directly to Nigerians and he told them this is what he plans, this is what he intends, and this is how it's going to change your life. He made great promises for 2025, which is something is rather exciting. So I believe it was quite a formidable and beneficial media chat directed to the Nigerians.
Well, you are senior special assistant to the man yourself, so I don't expect you to say anything bad in what he said. But I'll try to be the voice of balance and reckon so that we can find some balance to this conversation. Mr. President did say that Nigeria is on the path of recovery and that he had no regrets removing fuel subsidy at his inauguration in 2023. He mentioned that failure to do so would have amounted to the country spending the lives of its future generations. But do you think he really has a full grasp of the impact of these policies on the lived experiences of people right now, considering the quality of life they are living now, the purchasing power relative to before that announcement was made?
I do believe he understands what Nigeria is going through, and I'll tell you why. He gave references to people that changed their mode of life. Affluent people that reduces the way they use their vehicles, the number of vehicles. He also has more importantly, continuously mentioned the fact that he understands and is aware of the pain Nigerians are going through. He repeatedly said so, and even his Minister of Finance has also said so, and other government, government heads. So it's something that he knows. I could clearly tell you that his tenure as governor of Lagos State went through a bit of that phase. I remember in parts of in Lagos, he cleared streets trading. He was one of the first governors to do that and cleared many of the arteries where cars and buses go through. And it was very painful for a lot of Lagosians. And he went out on the street and he told them the reason he was doing it. And if you go through many parts of Lagos right now, there's clear movement, there's more orderliness. He has his vision and you cannot take that away from him. So he knows where to start, how to start, and he knows the process, and he knows the conclusion. It's experience that said so. It's experience that showed this. So I believe he's sympathetic to what people are going through, and he's continuously in communication with the country, and that's very important. There's one thing to just state something and then sit back and just watch things play. He's actually in constant communication. He's actually telling people in whenever press conferences he has, whether in Nigeria or outside, about his reforms and what he intends to do, and as based on your question, what people are going through. It's never going to be easy. Reforms are painful. I mean, you can talk about historically what happened in places around the world when Indira Gandhi did reforms. The Congress Party, sorry, the Congress Party in India in recent times did their reforms in the 90s and opened up the economy. Talk about China opening up the economy after the Chairman Mao's tenure, how it changed things. You can talk about, in Russia, how they went through, they were subsidizing everything. They were queuing up for bread, they were queuing up for, all the staple items, heavily subsidized. You talk about that in the UK, the welfare system that Margaret Thatcher broke and changed, fighting the union. And the UK is one of the most thriving economies in Europe, I mean. So it's a painful process. He's aware of history and he's communicated it and he's showed his intention to stick with it. And so, yes, I believe that he knows what people are going through, and he's on the right track in resolving the challenges Nigeria face.
You know, the thing is, there's a thin line between sympathy and empathy. You heard him crack a joke about one of his friends who had stopped driving his 5 Rolls Royce and his full subsidy was removed. And he was asking Nigerians to live within their means. You know, do you think people in government appreciate the fact that the means we're talking about here has become really mega for many Nigerians in recent months, that some don't even have the means to live within, in the real sense of
it? I would even say beyond recent months. In years, in progressive years, we've been patching, we've been subsidizing our future, subsidizing what the government, the economy could be, our potential. We were supposed to be the largest economy in Africa. Now, after we removed, we did reform on our fiscal and, foreign exchange process. We've been downgraded to that. So we've been living a lie in many cases because that's not really been our true state of affairs. We've been subsidizing, we've been just, again, patching. The president has clearly stated that he's open for business. He's ready to change things and encourage investments in Nigeria. You can't get investments if the investor from coming in from wherever sees that your economy is subsidized. Who's going to, we can't compete. The government is given freebies to oil, to oil consumption, to electricity, to the forex. So it's just not authentic, and the president has taken steps to do that. So regarding those reforms and how you explained it, it's again, it's a necessary process, painful, albeit very painful. I'm pretty sure life has changed a lot for Nigerians, even Nigerians in diaspora. Their demands are huge. People from back home are asking them for more money. Even the roads of Lagos, there's less traffic on the roads because of less people using their vehicles. But things will balance. There will be an equilibrium whereby the market forces and the people will adjust their lives for a better thing. So there's no way you can grow the economy without these reforms. It's absolutely no way.
I hear you when you say things will balance. I think the question also has to do with if there is a specific timeline to these things. The president was heard yesterday saying he's just been in office for 18 months. But 18 months sounds like almost 2 years in a 4-year term. He did say that his administration has been able to meet its financial obligations without resorting to NNPCL for funding. So government is getting by, no doubt, but it's about the impact on the ordinary people. So despite spiraling inflation, Mr. President said he doesn't believe in price controls. He mentioned that the market should be supplied while allowing the forces of demand and supply determine prices. Is there a timeline that, Nigerians are aware of, and that then they can anticipate that within this period of time, we can begin to see the impact of all of these reforms, especially on our purchasing power?
Well, I can tell you this much, that the president has stated that he had confidence in his reforms taking, about showing more, I should say, more impact to the Nigerian population in the year 2025, which is approaching. So that's encouraging. But I want to state clearly that reforms are a continuous process. You can have a new administration coming in and reforming the system. They have different ways. It could be the electoral system. It could be the financial system. It could even be issues of infrastructure. It could very much be even foreign policy. So there's always a constant reform. So they can't give it, I would not say, a definitive time when, boom, everything is great, everything is back to normal, and we're living in a state of paradise. So it's a government is continuous. There's always challenges. There's always different things that you least expect. I know who expected the massive flooding, the dam breaking in Maiduguri, and affected so many people, affected farming, which in many ways affected our GDP. That was unexpected. So how do you expect, when global challenges, what about prices in the Middle East, how it affects our oil export and oil production, oil consumption? So all these things are not necessarily in people's government's control. This is where reforms had stated the fact that it's a continuous thing. I'm confident that as the months and years go by, it will take fruition. It will take the necessary, you will see the necessary changes in the system. And the president has expressed that, as he stated. I mean, look at NNPC. We used to depend so much on NNPC. We used to depend so much on the means and ways process of financing our budget. That, as has changed. There's a change. Even debt debt payment from 98% or 97% to 68% of what the president claimed is remarkable. We're not just paying debt. We actually are reduced our debt portfolio, and we're using the money for other things necessary for the economy. So it's a change. You tell people on the street, you tell the Okada driver, tell the market woman that this is what the president is saying, and they will like, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't change the hardship I'm going through. But I would tell you that, that hopefully that market woman, that Okada driver, that person in the village will see changes as the months and weeks and and years go by, because they're structural changes. It's going to affect their lives. They will have a way whereby they will be able to show that, okay, if I farm, I will be able to go to the farm. Security will be better. I will be able to sell my produce. I'll be able to send my children to school. I'll be able to move from one part of the country to another without fear of being kidnapped or,
I hear you clearly, Mr. Oshodi,
bullied.
but you also agree with me that over the years we've witnessed a massive trust deficit in government on the part of the people. So Mr. President is saying Nigerians should live within their means, adjust your lifestyle to the current situation. But the question on the mind of others is, do we see the government reciprocate same? There are, concerns about cutting the cost of governance. He mentioned yesterday that he has confidence in his cabinet, dismissing suggestion to trim the cabinet size. Just how do people continue to believe in government on the other side if they don't seem to see, government doing the same in the area of cutting the cost of governance? We hear about buying luxury cars, furbishing houses and what have you.
Believe me, cutting the cabinet size or reducing the purchase of cars or luxury cars is not enough if you want to say cutting government. There has to be a very efficient system in place. The government has, revamped the Oresonye report. That is something that is on the plate. The Oresonye report, I will just tell you viewers, is streamlining the many federal parastatals and agencies and bringing it into one. So that's something that the government is looking into, is reviewing. So that itself is more, I would say, more impactful if there's anything. So, but no, it's cutting governance is not the all in all. We have to think about, as the president said, what is efficient? How do you ensure that the people in the position are doing the job and doing it effectively? I believe me, if you have 20 ministers, does that make the government cheaper? It's like it's just that they'll have more concentration of work, more portfolio, but it's it doesn't change things. There's still issues, there are places, there are things that each minister is responsible for all facets of the economy and the political life. And it's also a constitution that says that I think that each state has to be represented in a government's cabinet. So how do you do with that? How do you manage that? So cutting governance it's I believe is a grander thing. It's not just cabinet. It's not just luxury cars. As bad as that optics may be, it is really just being an efficient way of running government. And the president, this administration has looked into ways of reviewing how the civil service works, the government's foreign trips, with who goes with him, and in many ways ensuring that there's efficiency in the government.
Mr. President's concept of fighting corruption is rather unique. He talked about blocking the loopholes, increasing the standard of living. He mentioned increasing the minimum wage and what have you. What happened to consequences for bad behavior? I understand this concept of anti-corruption mechanism, like paying a living wage, but you can also fight corruption if you don't make examples of those who are corrupt.
Fighting corruption, it's probably the second challenge to humanity after bringing Adam and Eve into the world. So it's an ongoing thing. It's in any society we have that challenge. It's just ensuring that we have strong institutions. It's very, I can't stress it enough. You have strong institutions. You have the judiciary. You have the FCC. You have the police force. You have the border agencies, customs, immigration. You have even the man on the street not cheating a person that wants to buy a certain item from him. So it's a human thing, and President Tinubu has taken bold steps towards it. You can see with the outcome of what the FCC is doing and how the independence of the judiciary.
Hold that thought for a minute, Mr. Oshodi. We'll get back to it. Let's open the phone lines. Mr. George is live from Ikeja. Good morning. Mr. George, are you there?
Yes. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Nifemi, I greet your guest. Each time the president speaks to the public directly, I get the impression that his spokesmen do not either understand his aim and objective, or there is no close communication between him and his media men. What they portray to the public seems to be different from what the president has in mind. That's one. I saw a president yesterday that is in charge. He's in charge of, he takes a decision and stands by it. That is what leads to success. Confidence that what you want to do, what you have planned to do, will come true. That is what attracts help, that brings success. I cherish that in my president. And I've been following him for about 30 years. This has been his standard, even when he was a Lagos State governor. And that was the reason why he achieved all he achieved all the while. I quite agree with him on his cabinet size. If you will allow me to delve into just two of his pronouncements yesterday. He talked about that he's confident about his cabinet size. He doesn't need to reduce it. Yes, 50 or so ministers is not too much to serve 200 million people. But one thing I see there, those ones that are called ministers of state, they don't have specific assignments. They should, in order to maximize their potentials. For example, in the Ministry of Health, you have the minister. Why not assign the NHIS and the primary health care delivery to Minister of State and say, for this aspect of this ministry, you will be held responsible for whatever the outcome is. He will know his duty, not just sitting behind the minister, the senior minister, and is just like a spare tire. I support the number, but they should be kept busy. If you look at the cabinet, you see that only about 10 of them are quite outstanding. We want to know what all of them are doing and why we should be spending our money on them. Then Mr. President should also please help with this confidence he has, fight the oil cabal. They are bent on ensuring business as usual. The same thing with the governors. They are bent on saying that the rate of exchange does not go down. I personally do not agree that the Naira is exchanging for 1,500 and that is not the real rate. The real rate of exchange of the Naira to the dollar is about 800 Naira. There are some people who do not want it to come down for selfish reasons. The president should help us to fight the governors and their allies and ensure that the ordinary Nigerian is the beneficiary. Those are the only areas I don't have all the time to go through. But I am proud of this president because he is ready to face decisions and get results. And that's what we want.
Thank you, Mr. Judge, for your contribution. Mr. President is saying that the members of this cabinet are effectively adding value and he's not prepared to bring down that size. Tax reform, according to him, is here to stay, even though he's open to adjusting some of the provisions that have to do with value-added tax. Let us take a short break, Mr. Shodi, and when we return, we'll also turn the page on what he's been able to do in the area of international relations. He's made quite a number of foreign trips recently. He made mention of the recent one to Brazil and how much commitment is gotten in area of investment. We'll take a look at some of that as well when we return. Stay with us, everyone.
Voted as the best TV station of the year. TVC News breaks into the core of every event as they happen. Following all nationwide big and impactful stories. Without the news from every perspective. Covering every human angle. I am Veronica, bringing you the news you would want to watch.
Good morning, Marina Station and all the passengers. Efficient, it's comfortable.
This development will go a long way in reducing congestion and emission.
The trains are a long-term solution to Lagos traffic.
Thanks for staying with us, everyone. Did you watch Mr. President's media chat yesterday? What do you think about it? You can call in on the phone line shown on your screen or tweet to us at TVC News, and you remember to tag at Nifemi Oguntoye so I can read your tweets as well. SSA to the President on Foreign Affairs and Protocol, Ademola Oshodi. Mr. Oshodi, thank you for staying the course on the program this morning. So the country reportedly has attracted billions of dollars in aid and investments. Mr. President talked yesterday about a pledge of $2.5 billion in Brazil. Where are all these monies, and how soon can it matter to the average Nigerian?
The money you talked about is what you see when you drive on the streets around Nigeria, the peace, the tranquility, and the promise that that the country is making. You see the fact that oil prices, domestic pump price at the petrol station is going down. You move around in parts of the north, it's easier. So what I'm saying is that the president's foreign trips have done changes to security. It brought more stabilization to our naira, and is also you can also see the fact that our international profile has gone up, which in many cases opens doors for us to negotiate loans, opens doors for us to get investors in our telecom area, in agriculture, which you see in Brazil. The president went to Brazil and ensured that there was a billions of naira in investments, promised investment, 2.5 billion, I believe, in livestock. the livestock industry in Nigeria. So there's that change that is happening. But I would say the most important thing that you would see that affects us is, I believe, the reduction of security. Security levels have gone down. We've managed to get people to give us military hardware. We've managed to be able to have intelligence cooperation with Western powers and also with powers in other parts of the country. That's reduced the pressure on our security forces and ensure people can live their life. People can go back to the farm. When you go back to the farm, where most of the Nigerians work, 40% of employment is from agriculture. So you can go back to the farm, you can feed your family, you can educate your children, and it can help the Nigerian economy. So that itself is impacting the Nigerian population. So those foreign trips are very, very key. They explore the transformation potential of Nigeria from being, I believe, a quite quiet giant to an economy, to a country that is open for business. This is what the president has insisted.
Let me quickly take Reverend Dominic's call. Good morning, Reverend. Reverend Dominic, are you there?
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me? Compliments.
Wish you the same. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, I don't know if the PA, special assistant, is hearing me, but I want him to hear this. Femi, yesterday I saw a president that gave me joy. He was healthy. He was bold. Our president is very healthy, and he was very bold, and he knows what he's doing. But just like George has said, it seems to me that most of the lieutenants of Mr. President are not in tandem with him. Femi, I traveled to Delta State last 2 weeks. From Lagos, Shagamu to Delta State, Warri, it's unpassable. What we call Benin bypass was impossible. Before you get to Warri, you have to see tracing from here to Warri. There's a bad spot. And the Julius Berger has instrument there, they have abandoned it. That's what I'm saying. This president knows what he's doing. But there's a question that I have asked Mr. President, if I had the opportunity yesterday. How come that you are paying 70,000 naira as minimum wage? And a bag of cement, a bag of rice, is 110,000. If a man has a wife and a child, just one child, how could 70,000 naira take care of that child's school fees and could not afford a bag of rice, 110,000? That's one question I could have asked him. Mr. President is doing well, but his lieutenants are not doing perfectly well. He means well, but no one man can govern a nation. It takes a team. And I agree with him with his team. He said you don't want to reduce the ministers. But if you listen to what George says, what is a minister of state sitting down in Abuja while a minister of the main minister is going around everywhere? We must share this work very well so that the mind and the vision of Mr. President can trickle down to a common man. Right. No matter how a policy is sweet, if a man in Nigeria, a common man, in quote, I hate to use our common man, is not feeling the impact, what is good of policy? 70,000 naira minimum wage, 110,000 naira a bag of cement. No road here you can travel from here to southeast and you feel Eldorado.
I hear you clearly, Reverend.
It's impossible. From here to Warri, it's impossible. Mr. President.
Thank you for your contribution, Reverend Dominic. Did you hear the clergyman, Mr. Oshodi? There seemed to be this concern about how well Mr. President's lieutenants are doing in laundering his image and telling accurately what he's been able to do in the past 18 months. Does that bother you as feedback from even those who appear to support him?
You can never have enough communication. I believe the media team are doing a fantastic job. I believe that they've reached not just the middle class elite, like our pastor there or bishop. They've reached the common man. There are people speaking with people that do not understand English properly. There are different languages, the interpretation. There's a different communication in Yoruba, Igbos, in Tiv and in Hausa. So you can never have enough communication. But when as tough as things are, when you're in pain, there's nothing you can't tell people enough that to hold on tight, and that there's going to be a change. There's going to be things that would relieve you. It's a tough situation, but it's important that we continuously reach out to Nigerians and reassure them. It's very important that the administration ensures that there's a line not just to the middle class, but to people in the villages, the people in the rural areas, the people in remote places that may not have TVC to be able to get the message. So yes, there's more we could do, but I believe that we're doing a lot, and it's important that the Nigerian population understands the fact that the country is going to places that that will change and make sure their future, the future of their children, will be better taken care of. It's important, especially areas of security, especially the areas of food security. Also, I could tell you the fact that even in maritime, when last did you hear about piracy in the Niger Delta? Oil production has gone up. So these are things that are slow to trickle in, but I can tell you, it's something that is in place.
Otumba Debo has called in from Abeokuta. Good morning, Otumba.
Yeah, good morning.
Please go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead with the contribution.
Okay, compliments of the city.
Wish you the same.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can, clearly. Go ahead, sir. You have just 1 minute.
Okay. I had the president. But this is the first time, almost after 18 months. It's too late. Or better than nothing. It should now make it regularly. In Obasanjo's time, it started 3 months for almost 8 years. So the president should speak to Nigerians through the media regularly. That's number one. Number two, I don't agree with him that we made the bold steps, bold policies. All your policies that are affecting the citizens negatively. Then you're not president for yourself alone. You are president for the citizens. So you should understand. You should know that it is the citizens' interest that must be protected first. The pump price is biting harder. It should reduce it and look for income elsewhere from the rich, and not to suffer the poor. The poor are dying, and you can see what happened in Ibadan, Abuja, Anambra, and so many other places. Poor people are suffering, are dying. It should reduce the pump price. That is basic. Good morning.
Good morning, Otumba. Thank you for your contribution. Walk us through, Mr. Shode, quickly, the import of the two recent agreement between Nigeria and France. We are hearing the value exceeds 300 million euros.
It does. It is something that is quite timely, and you can see the fact that the president is a closer. He went there and he achieved. Achieved what his predecessors could not do. So it's important that you can see French partnership in Nigeria, which Nigeria is taking full advantage of. You can notice there's a geopolitical shift in Francophone countries in West Africa. Nigeria is taking a benefit of it. It's a mutual relationship with Nigeria and France, and it's ripping results for the country. You can also talk about in India, Nigeria president signing bilateral agreements with the Indian government and ensuring that we have more investments. We have a massive Indian population here for doing business. It's important that
some have said that we should be wary of France. Though there was a news that the military headquarters had to debunk the news that there was this French military base in northeast Nigeria. I want you to speak more about our relationship with France and the concerns in our neighboring West African countries. But let's take Ibrahim's call quickly from Mina. Good morning, Ibrahim.
Good morning.
Welcome to the program. You have 1 minute. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead. We can hear you.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can. Go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Okay. I quite like the courage and the confidence of Mr. President in actually expressing himself and encouraging the citizens that there is hope. But what is there is that this policy is talking about, he understands it better than every other person. So in that case, this kind of enlightenment should come in. And secondly, it is not like Nigerians actually lack policy decisions, but policy implementation has been a challenge. And when you look along the line, who are those implementing this decision is making? So this is where the impact touches on the citizens. And as we are talking today, the essence of governance does not go beyond having to make life meaningful for the citizens. The welfare of the citizens is very important. The security of the citizens is very important. So I think an issue is possibly take this policy one after the other so that there can be feedback and you understand where the challenges are. The common people, as it is now, are in pain. And how these pains are going to be removed is very critical. And personally, I'm not a pessimist, but I can see that within 1 or 2 years, if this budget, the budget that is called Budget of Hope, if this budget is not well handled, the impact will not even show. Because all we are seeing on a very serious note is that we have seen a large quantity of naira purchasing very few things, and you can see the implication. So the implication is that as it is now, maybe we will continue to give hope to Nigerians. Of course, Nigerians have been living on hope, and it is hope that is sustaining us. Maybe we will continue to give us that hope until when we see the light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you very much.
Indeed, thank you for your contribution. Mr. Oshodi, quickly, should we be worried with our romance with France, at a time where other West African countries are, redefine their relationship with the country?
Nigeria should be opening up its country, its economy for more investments, whether it's from France, whether it's from Germany, whether it's from India, whether it's from China. Nigeria needs to be a key player in the global stage. So we can't discriminate as long as it's mutually beneficial. It's very important to stress this. America, President Joe Biden has said Nigeria deserves a seat in the Security Council in the United Nations. That is boosting our profile. That is showing that Nigeria is serious. So we intend to be that major force in Africa. As they say, if you're not on the table, then you're on the menu. So we have to be there telling them about climate change. We have to be there fighting our way for security in the Sahel, in West Africa. We have to be there ensuring that Africa is peaceful, especially in the Sudan. The world is almost forgotten Sudan. America is struggling to give Africa attention. Nigeria needs foreign partners, whether it's even in Cameroon or it's in Brazil or it's in Australia. We can't discriminate as long as it's mutually beneficial and our sovereignty is respected. It's that simple.
I like what you said. If you're not on the table, you're on the menu. You just have to be sure. You can be thinking you're on the table and then you are on the menu. But Tony has called in from Jos. Good morning, Tony. Tony, are you there?
Hello, my brother.
Yes, good morning. Go ahead. You have 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you. This is Tony. I'm mostly I'm known as Bob. I'm there, my brother. So what I want to say, I'm mostly known as Bob from Jos, Plateau State. Mostly they accuse me of supporting our president. This is not the first time I'm supporting every presidential candidate every president in this country. I did that during Shagari's time. I did that during Buhari and Umaru Musa.
We may have lost connection with the supporter of our president in Shagari time. We'll probably get back to him subsequently. Mr. Shodi, what specific benefits do you envision from our participation in the G20 and BRICS summits, for instance? How do you see these engagements beginning to substantially shape our portion, the country's global agenda?
The BRICS is a very, very progressive organization that is grown into be a nation, a group of emerging economies led by, of course, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Nigeria has sought membership of the BRICS and also showed interest in the G20. So the BRICS is I believe, a good counterweight to the West, to the Bretton system of the Western financial system, where we have countries that quite necessarily are quite, unaligned. They're not aligned to Western processes, Western institutions. It gives that opportunity for Nigeria to get the benefits of both systems, the West and also, I would say, the global South. So it's one of the biggest things that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is trying to achieve, to ensure that our profile, our opportunities in the world, and also our investments are encouraged by being part of this esteemed member group. G20 it's very India and Brazil have pushed that. It's coming down to South Africa is hosting the next year. I'm hoping Nigeria will be announced. I don't know. I hope Nigeria will be announced as a member by then. So it's you can't not be part of the big boys club, and that's where these two groups, the BRICS and the G20, come in. Right. It's not the West whereby the G7 they can dictate and they can push their financial muscle around. We in the global South, can actually have our own grouping and dictate and find ways to better improve ourselves.
We're rounding off now, but I want us to address, we talked about fighting corruption earlier. Precisely how does this administration plan to address the global perception of Nigeria as being corrupt? Are there concrete steps being taken to prevent corruption?
Well, I addressed this earlier in this conversation. We have to build institutions. It's just the fact. We have to build strong, lasting institutions that last even the tenure of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have to have the judiciary strong, independent, well-funded. We need to have arms of the judiciary. I almost twisted my tongue there. With EFCC, the police force, we have to have border security and ensuring the immigration system is in place. So we have to build institutions. We have to train staff. We have to fund it. So obviously, the federal government should have more money now. The fact that we're not subsidizing our life away. Right. So it's those institutions with the support of foreign agencies giving us advice and giving us training is what will help Nigerians. So anybody can be removed, anybody can be held accountable. It's extremely important, especially if you talk about the local government review. If you look at local government now, they're going to be independent. That itself is a building of institutions.
Let's take one last call. Godwin has called in from Uyo. Good morning, Godwin. Oh, I'm so sorry. I think he waited too long. Thank you for trying. A big thank you, Senior Special Assistant to Mr. President on Foreign Affairs and Protocol, Mr. Ademola Oshodi. Thank you for talking to us this morning, and we wish you Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas and compliments of the season. Happy festivity.
So, Ruben, about yesterday, I'd asked Mr. President the question about what he thinks of 2025 and what his promises are for Nigeria. This is my favorite part of that conversation, and that's what I'll be leaving you with. Don't forget our conversation continues online. Follow me on X at Nifemi Oguntoye, and I'll be back at 6 p.m. with Beyond 100 Days. Stay with us, everyone. See you again soon.
2025 is a very promising year. Let me first of all thank Nigerians for having confidence in me to be the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm very, very proud of that. And I don't want you to think I will take you for granted at any given time. I'm here to serve. It's all about service. And I'll do it with all my heart. I seek your cooperation at all the time. I seek your understanding. I understand the trouble you've been through, the economic problems. It's just 18 months that I've taken over the reign of this country. The promise is there. We are on the right path. We stay the course. We maintain focus. We share love with each other. Let us believe in ourselves and in our country. Tomorrow will bring a glorious dawn. Thank you very much.
Every second, every minute, every hour, and every day, time doesn't just tick away. It counts down to political decisions that shape our world.
This country must move